April 23rd is the deadline for the registration of political parties battling in local elections, while the Democratic Party and Socialist Movement for Integration have declared that there will be no elections with Prime Minister Edi Rama at the head of government. Saudi investors seek to invest in Albania through a new private-public partnership project while expressing interest in the purchase of livestock from Albania. Deforestation continues to be a concern in Elbasan, as the Chief Inspector of Environment says that violators have been identified, while in the past year, administrative measures were imposed valued at 40 million lek. It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 20th of April, 2019. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to RTV Ora's English edition. My name is Oliver, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. On to tonight's top story. At a time when the opposition is determined not to go to local elections with Edi Rama at the head of government, the Central Election Commission begins its countdown for the implementation of legal deadlines. April 21st is the deadline for the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration to participate in the local elections. On Sunday at midnight, the legal deadline for the registration of political parties in the Central Election Commission will end. However, given that April 21st is a Sunday and Monday corresponds to a formal day off, the registration of electoral subjects may be postponed until April 23rd. So far, 25 political parties have been registered, including the Socialist Party, which has expressed its willingness to participate in the local elections despite the boycott of the opposition. The Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration have boycotted the electoral process by not sending the commissioners to the commissions of electoral administration zones. It is still unknown what kind of action will be taken by the new opposition in the Assembly, in which during the plenary session on Thursday expressed their desire not to boycott the elections. If the new parliamentary minority will participate in this election, it will have to register with an existing party or create a new entity altogether with at least 3,000 signatures. Apart from the electoral boycott, the electoral process has run into another problem: the suspension of the tender responsible for ballot papers. This comes after a complaint by a company that participated in the race. The Public Procurement Commission's website does not yet have a decision on this appeal, and as a result, the tender procedure for ballot papers continues to be under suspension. Moving on now to our next story, the head of the parliamentary group of the Socialist Party, Talan Bala, said that elections will take place on June 30th, even if the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration choose not to register, and that every Albanian has the right to vote for their own mayor. Bala reported that the Socialist Party has started organizing all of their electoral structures, stating, "Albanians know perfectly well how to make a difference between the municipalities run by the Socialist Party and the municipalities run by the Democratic Party chair, Luzin Basha, and the Socialist Movement for Integration chair, Monica Kurimadi. The choice is so simple that we are certain that even if he was to run alone in this election, Luzin Basha would lose again, as Albanians reject Basha. They reject his party. They reject his ideas and his incitement of violence. Luzin Basha thinks only of himself and nobody else," declared Bala. From Elbasan, the SP Secretary General warned the opposition and its supporters of possible jail time if they were to try to prevent voters from going to the polls, damaging polling stations. Bala said that in the local elections, the Socialist Party will win, even if those municipalities up for grabs, which until now have been governed by the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration, considering it an opposition without an alternative. Next up, Albania's political landscape seems to be undergoing a change, as Rudina Hajdari will create a new political party called the Democratic Obedience Party. Just a few days after she warned that she will in fact participate in the June 30th elections, the daughter of Azem Hajdari, who was introduced to politics by Luzin Basha in the 2017 election, has decided to be the leader of a new political party which aims to bring in many former officials dismissed by the Democratic Party. Former Democratic Party MP Astrit Patosi is now said to be part of this new political movement and has publicly expressed his support for Rudina Hajdari. RTV Ora contacted Patosi, however, he did not admit or deny the news of his involvement in this political force. Sources tell RTV Ora that the initiators of the Democratic Obedience Party have begun collecting 3,000 signatures, which will be needed to register the political entity, and next week they will address the court and the Central Election Commission to become registered as an official competitor. Moreover, it seems that election time limits have posed a significant challenge for Haidari to register for the June 30th elections, as this coming Tuesday marks the official deadline for the registration of political entities. Well, the Albanian Air Force will now be equipped with U.S. Black Hawk helicopters after an agreement between Albania and the U.S. State Department. Defense Minister Olta Gjajachka said the equipment complete with radar planes is part of the U.S. support for Air Force modernization. During his visit to the United States, Defense Minister Olta Gjajachka reached a bilateral agreement with the U.S. State Department for acquiring several Black Hawk helicopters. Following this pact, the Albanian Air Force will be further modernized in order to support the objectives of security cooperation. Defense Minister Gjajachka visited the New Jersey National Guard at the McGuire D. Lakehurst base, where she was received by her commander, Brigadier General Jeremiah Beale. The support that the United States has provided Albania through this important package not only modernizes our capabilities, but also increases the readiness and operations of our Air Force, said Minister Gjajachka. This summer, pilots and technicians of the Albanian Air Force will start their training with the new Black Hawk helicopters at the New Jersey National Guard, which will also help provide the servicing and maintenance of these very robust helicopters. Albania may see a sizable increase of foreign investment as Saudi investors have expressed an interest in investing in Albania's agricultural sector. During a recent meeting, many foreign investors interested in the country were present, with a special focus on the agricultural sector and rural development. The Secretary General of the Ministry, Enea Hoti, presented them with the projects and vision for the sector as he invited them to be part of the private-public partnership to build 3 multifunctional agricultural centers. The first project we want to propose is the creation of 3 multifunctional agricultural centers, said Hoti. Minister Blendi Chuchi said that rural Albania has still untapped potential, stating agriculture is a strategic sector for our economy. We have increased government support to that sector year after year with grants and other favorable policies for farmers, but rural Albania still has untapped potential. So for foreign investment, it is indeed welcome. The group of Saudi investors who arrived in Albania at the invitation of Prime Minister Edi Rama for a 3-day business tour held a meeting with the Minister of Agricultural and Rural Development, Blendi Chuchi. According to reports, Saudi investors showed particular interest in purchasing Albania's livestock, wheat, and potato production, in addition to multifunctional agricultural centers, as well as a dam rehabilitation and irrigation system. Mother Nature has been rather generous with Madesh village in the municipality of Mat. There has always been an impressive landscape with rich natural resources, but there has never been quite as much attention from governments on the possibilities of investment. The village today has been forgotten. The existing bridge continues to risk the lives of those who pass over it. Even residents of the surrounding villages say that the interest among tourists is very high, but they cannot visit it because of the bridge. Meanwhile, residents who previously lived there claim that the main reason for their abandonment of the village are related to the bridge and lack of electricity. And finally, tonight, the government's forest moratorium has not been able to prevent Albania's deforestation problem. In Elbasan, the problem has been echoed by the Chief Inspector of Environment, Enver Shkurti, who says that violations have been identified and the administrative measures during the last year have been in the value of 40 million lek. We have seen the cutting of trees. The last year, we identified several cases in violation of the law where these measures have been taken, said Shkurti. Forest fires remain a constant problem as well. Just during this year, were recorded 32 fireplaces that damaged about 1,800 hectares of land. This year, we are in an unusual situation because fires have already started to appear at such an early time. This has not happened before, that in the period spanning the months from February to March, forest fires are becoming ignited, says Shkurti. A study by the European Forest Research Foundation lists Albania among the countries with the least forested areas, constituting only about 28% of Albania's entire territory. And that's news across the country today. Thank you so much for watching our English edition this evening. And be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of RTV Ora, thank you and have a great weekend.